better, right? So the point is, what if you are wrong? It doesn't matter, right? What's the worst going to happen? For example, if you are a young student, you're living with parents, right? What you're going to have, maybe you are investing about 50,000 rupees, 20,000 rupees is all you have. You can always perhaps earn it again. Do you have that much anyway, right? And for example, even after you launch, if you fail, how does it really matter? Every failure is going to make you better. You're going to learn. Most people are scared that being unscared will put you ahead of most people, right? So you need to realize the value of being unscared, and when you just do it, you will only be afraid until you just do it. And once you get it done, once you accomplish, the feeling is something nobody can describe. Okay, so having explained this, I want you to really understand that it's never too late. You just need to take the first step, and then things will happen on its own. You have to take the first step, and that's all you need to do. Okay, let's move on. Now I'm going to explain to you how a typical startup journey is, right? First of all, as an individual, you have to okay, as an individual, you have to think about think ahead of your time. You need to see, you need to know, for example, right now we are living in July. In December, how the world is going to be based on certain assumptions, well thought assumptions you can make. For example, let us take this example. Right now, many companies and countries are competing with each other to come up with a drug, with a vaccine for COVID-19. Assuming that trials come out successful in the next 1 or 2 months, probably the world will be already on a recovery course, and many businesses that have been shut down right now will start to open up, right? You know that right now, so many SMEs, thousands of SMEs, small and medium scale enterprises and industries have been shut down. And if you were to see as a problem that, shutting down of small and medium scale industries is a problem in your understanding, then you think that as an opportunity and see what kind of solution you can come up with to help those small and medium scale industries. And let me also tell you this example. Right now, students, right, were halfway through in their academics. Many of them were school students and many of them were university students. Once this COVID struck, schools were really stuck. I mean, they didn't know how to go about to complete the remaining curriculum. So what they did, they all looked for solutions. And then companies which are already having solutions, they started selling their products in the form of LMS, learning management system, right? School management system, and so on and so forth. And many schools I know of, for example, in many countries that I'm aware of, they didn't really find it difficult to move from physical classrooms to e-classrooms because they had already adapted. And many companies which had already launched those products, they made fortunes out of it. And let me also tell you this example, because 2 years ago, I wanted to launch an application to sell meat. I don't know if some of my friends who wanted to partner with me are online right now, watching me right now. They would probably be laughing, right? So we wanted to launch an application 2 years ago in Malaysia, which would be an aggregator platform for every single vendor in the country to sell meat, fish, chicken, whatever, non-vegetarian stuff is out there. It would be made available. So it's like a aggregator platform where all the vendors can come and feature their products and customers can go and buy it. And due to some reasons, we couldn't come to an agreement. We somehow pulled out from the project. And guess what? Right now, whoever started 2 years ago or 1 year ago, because of the COVID situation, their numbers went 300% up. So meaning whoever had even a small company focusing on this type of business were making fortunes right now. As we speak, every single startup company which had aggregator platform to sell this kind of groceries and vegetables and this kind of stuff became millionaires overnight. So the point I'm trying to make is you have to think in future, think ahead of your time, right? What's missing in the world? Think about it. So once you have thought about it, write it down. Put all your ideas down. Talk to your family, talk to your friends. Of course, those friends who are your well-wishers. Don't talk to people who will take away, steal your ideas. And by the way, every single individual can have at least 100 ideas on his or her own, right? Then once you have written it down, make a prototype. And then what is the meaning of prototype? Prototype is a model or something which is similar to the actual product. For example, you're going to manufacture a phone, right? A new type of phone. So it doesn't have to look like what it is going to be in the end. Rather, it can be something which is, you know, very close to how the actual product would look like. Then show it to, say, for example, 100 people. And then probably those people, 100 people who are your potential customers, would give you feedback, right? Once you have those feedback, maybe you can polish your product. Maybe you can make your product a little better. And then you cannot do everything alone. You need somebody who can complement, who can support you, who shares similar ideas, who also who's as excited as you to you know, accomplish something in life. So look for such kind of individual who can be on their toes all along, right? So you need to find a co-founder. Once you have found a co-founder, you need to register a company. Once you have done that, you need to look for funding. So who can fund you? Probably people will believe initially that, you know, you're a crazy person. You are simply wasting your time. Like, you know, most of the parents, right? I'm sorry to say this, but many parents in the subcontinent, Indian subcontinent, right? Countries like India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, we have this tendency, right? Thinking that, okay, this guy is working on a crap. He's going to end up, you know, something terrible in his life, and so on and so forth. So I hope parents who are attending this session right now wouldn't do this to their children. So you can probably ask your parents, knock their doors, and, you know, ask for funding. Or maybe your well-wisher, your friends. If you're matured adults like myself and even older, you can talk to your friends. If you don't have funding, talk to the people who has some understanding of how startup ecosystems function, right? Or talk to your relatives who can support you. Or there are hundreds and hundreds of angel investors. Who are those angel investors? Angel investors are people who are looking for individuals like yourself and myself who have this crazy idea that can transform a particular industry, which can disrupt the way things are happening right now. Okay, then launch, let everyone know about something you have made. Then you need to get feedback, real feedback from real users who are willing to pay for your product. If say, for example, those people come back again and again and use your service or the product, then you're destined to grow and you are going to be a millionaire in no time. Because just like, for example, let's take this webinar as an example, right? Mr. Ibrahim starts this platform called Self-Help for youth, right? And then he spreads the message in Chennai with his team, and then the message grows across the world and spreads like, everywhere. And right now there are about 320 plus participants and from different countries, right? Who would think it's possible? It's possible because we have already entered the fourth industrial revolution. At the split of a second, single message can reach thousands and millions of people. So that's the reason why we say tech entrepreneurship is the future, is because if you have a product which can offer tremendous value to the customers, then it can grow in no time, right? And say, for example, something goes wrong, you need to again go into the loop and rework out, maybe perhaps polish the idea a little bit, and then launch again and get the feedback. And this circle goes on. And in startup terminology, this is called lean startup methodology. So in the course, I'm going to explain how you can work this out in detail. Okay, let's move on. I want to ask you, everyone attending this session right now, who knows what this is? Who knows what this is? Right now on the screen, what do you see on the screen? Type it out, guys. Okay, wonderful. Oh, great. Everybody knows. Okay, this is Angry Bird. Okay, I get it. Okay, wonderful. So right now, I want to ask you, how many of you know that Angry Bird, as a project as simple as Angry Bird, if done in a proper manner, can make you a billionaire. For your information, Rovio is a company which founded or which created Angry Birds, and it was listed right in London, and it got IPO for $1 billion. Can you imagine that? A simple application which our kids, right, play at home, and even adults play at home, many of us perhaps. So this company was evaluated $1 billion, right? So how it happened? Three guys start a company in 2003, and then they make 51 games. All they did was invested their money or did programming themselves or whatever. I'm not sure about their story. And they made 51 games. And almost all the games were failure. It didn't really work out. People didn't like it. So in 2009, after 6 years of hard work, they were almost broke. And finally, some intuition came, and they said, okay, let's give it one more try. So what happened is they stretched 10 ideas per day, and finally one of them came up with this thingy called Angry Bird, and that's how Angry Bird became a game which is downloaded by 2 billion people, right? 1/4 of human beings on earth right now have played this game. Isn't this amazing, right? So I also want to mention one thing here, because many of the people over here right now are students, right? And students predominantly from, I guess, India. Unfortunately, the education system we are in right now doesn't offer us an opportunity to think beyond our textbooks. And I would like to really emphasize that if you have a crazy idea that you believe could transform the way people do a particular job or a thing or something, that you know of, then go ahead and start it up. Why? Because these are the number of deals the university spinouts made in a span of 2013 to 2017. Likewise, these are the amounts, right? It's about 1,791 million in 2013, and in the year 2017, the startups, right? Different startups in different countries. You can see the color codes here. So unfortunately, if you see in Asia, which also includes so many countries, Asian countries, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and China and everyone. So unfortunately, the Asian countries weren't really doing well. So what it indicates is you need to get out of this mindset that if you're a student, you cannot start a company. Okay. So with this, let me take you to very, very important tool that every startup entrepreneur of today uses, right? I'm just giving you a snippet because this requires a great deal of work. You have to work it out, by spending hours, a number of hours, to understand how you can come up with a startup idea. Okay, if you have an idea, okay, I have $1 million idea, this is what you believe, then how can you put that into context? So all it requires is, for example, if you're an individual who wants to sell, teacups, and I'm sure somebody would be laughing right now because I know a person who wants to sell teacups, right? This could be a crazy idea. So all you need to do is you need to explain to yourself and the people who are you going to partner with or seek investment from, that what is the value for a customer in the product you have or a service you're trying to offer. For example, in India, we have so many delivery services, right? You have, say, for example, you made biryani and you want that biryani to reach out to your uncle. Right now, what you can do is pick up, one of the applications and call them to pick it up from your home and deliver it to your aunt's home or uncle's home. So this is possible right now. This is a service, right? So how this service is offering value to the customer is something you need to crack, right? So once you have figured out who your customers are and what are their needs or jobs, or what are the things that they are trying to gain through a service or a product, then you can come up with this amazing value proposition. So what I want to do is share with you an animation to explain this very quickly in less than a minute. Okay, so let's watch this animation and then we'll come back to this business model canvas and spend a few minutes before we conclude today's session. Okay.
You're having a great time developing a perfect product. putting together logistic solutions, specifications, a price tag, and a magical sprinkle of concept. Now, you're off to surprise the client with your new product, hoping it will work out this time. Too bad it never really works out this way. Chances are, the client really isn't into your solution. Did you know there's a better way? It starts with a peek inside the client's head to see the work he has to get done, his headaches, the gains he needs. With that knowledge, you can start helping him to get his jobs done, ease his pain, and create the gains he wants. Using the value proposition canvas, you create solutions tailored to the client's needs.
All right, so I hope you understood what value proposition is. However, it requires a lot of work, right? In the course, which is of 10 sessions, I'm going to spend one whole session in helping you understand how you can work out and ensure that your product or a service has a great value proposition, right? So once you have figured out what are your customer segments and what is the value proposition, then you need to figure out what are the channels through which you're going to make a sale, right? And it's not only enough that you need to engage with your customers, know how do they feel about your service or the product, and how you're going to build a relationship with them so that they stick around, right? And how you can, for example, grow your customer base. So once you understand these 4 things, you move on to figure out what could be your revenue streams. For example, you have a product or a service. How are you going to make money? Are you going to ask your people to pay a subscription so that they can continue to use a service for 1 whole year, 5 years, or you're going to take a commission, let people sell their product on your platform and customers buy, and as a result, you take a commission? Or, you're going to have a brokerage. There are more than 20 different types of revenue models. So which one is suitable for you is something you need to figure out. So once you have understood these things or figured out these things, you go on to find out what are the key activities that you will do as a startup in your company. Are you going to build a product, manufacture the product yourself, or you're going to, for example, do the marketing yourself? What would be the key activities that you will do on a day-to-day basis? Say, for example, you are a very, very small budget company. You can produce the product. What you can do is you can find partners who can produce the product for you, and you can sell it on your platform. And then to do those activities, what are the resources you need? You need computers, you need programmers, you need developers, you need accountants. What do you need? So to accomplish these activities using these resources, how much money you would need? So this is essentially a business model canvas. And if any startups cracks this out, I'm probably sure that they are going to make huge gains. So one question that many people would be probably asking around is, isn't startup market saturated? All I want to say is yes, as well as no, because 100 million businesses are launched annually, right? Some succeed and some fail, but great ideas can change the world. Here is an example. People who are in Malaysia probably know what Grab is, and people outside Malaysia probably know what Uber is. The reason why I give you Grab's idea is because they absolutely disrupted a huge giant like Uber. Uber offers taxi service, right? E-hailing, e-taxi service, right? So when Uber started out, they were rapidly expanding across Asia, Southeast Asia, and literally every country in the world. And of course, Malaysia is no exception. So when they came to Malaysia, they were having a single solution that they implemented across the world. For example, similar to India, Malaysia is a country where people do cash transactions. They do not use e-payments or credit cards or debit cards and so on and so forth, and e-payments. And as a result, what happened is Grab thought, even though Uber is a giant, nowhere any company can compete with Uber, because Uber was already valuated at several billion dollars. So Grab thought there is a service which can be more valuable than Uber to the customers who are using e-hailing services. So what they did is they created a platform which is similar to Uber, whereby drivers can offer their taxi services. Credit cards, it's okay, you can make cash payments, right? So not only that, you know that Uber faced some challenges in India. Some passengers face harassment. There was some news about female getting raped and so on by the Uber drivers. So Grab said, hey, listen, we are going to have a security feature which would track how you're riding, where you're riding to, so that your well-wishers, your beloved people would be able to track where you're going, so that you will be safe. So there are abundant opportunities for the people who have the understanding, who know how to look around. So my point is that please do not make a conclusion that the market is saturated. Yes, there are plenty of applications, plenty of startups, but still there are opportunities. Proper opportunities can also be looked out in the form of 17 sustainable development goals, which the United Nations has put up. These are the goals created or formed by experts from different disciplines, professors, experts, businessmen, intellectuals, and so on, from more than 180 countries. And they said, currently the world is undergoing a crisis. For us to save the world from the disaster it is heading to, we need to have goals to eradicate poverty, for example, to have clean energy, right? For example, to save the life on the land, and so on and so forth. So if you are going to start a company or a startup, perhaps it's time for you to reflect upon these goals and go and look deeper into each of these goals as to what are the targets and indicators that these goals mean. And of course, this is only an introduction, but in the course, I'm going to explain all these things in detail. Let me move on. Also, perhaps, it's also time for us to understand that perhaps our ancestors were living a way better, sustainable, resilient life than what we are talking about today, right? Even though we are, into cyber physical systems and going into IoT and all the advanced technologies, perhaps sometimes, people feel that de-industrial revolution might be also a better option. To make this thing into context, right? To put this thing into context, let me give you this example. Right now in United States alone, right, there are 1 billion toothbrushes that are being used. And as a result, there is pollution, land pollution, there is water pollution. The aquatic life has got completely disturbed because of a simple thing that perhaps many of us don't even pay attention to, right? Because when we wake up, we don't even pay attention to what's the color of our brush sometimes, right? So the solution could be as simple as replacing these plastic toothbrushes with something our ancestors have been using, right? So this is only a simple example, but if you are an innovator, if you have a solution which would come up with solutions for the current problems that we face today, you are destined for success. Not only that, let me also tell you, and I'm going to wrap up in next 2 or 3 minutes. So the number of internet users across the world has increased. I'm sure you would agree with me, because if you go down 10 years before, not many people, nobody perhaps knew what Zoom is. Not even 10 years, maybe 2 years ago, many people didn't know what Zoom is, what Google Meet is, right? Many other meeting platforms that we have today. So the number of internet users are exponentially increasing, and it is expected to grow even further beyond 2020, right? So there are also a number of accelerators. So what do we mean by accelerator? For example, if you take up this course, the next 10 sessions, once you graduate, you will be given an opportunity for funding. You will be given mentorship. You will learn. You will be assisted with network. Even though you do not know much about the industry, we will try to help you form a network. We will help you learn deeper about your own venture. And finally, perhaps you can have your own demo day. And also in India and across the world, Malaysia, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, anywhere you go, the so-called incubators or accelerators or co-working spaces are increasing at a staggering rate, meaning you do not, it's no more the situation, it's no more the case. If you do not have funding, it's absolutely all right. You don't have to worry about funding anymore. All you need to do as an individual is you need to figure out that you have an idea which offers tremendous value to the customer. If you can crack that, everything else will fall into its place, right? So there are a number of people sitting up with hot cash willing to fund your project. All they want to see is that you are able to convince those people that your idea is worth their investment and time. For your information, in India, right, in 2018, about $26.3 billion were given to startup for equity, which means you could have been one of them. I mean, 26.3 billion is a humongous amount. The amount, so for example, if you are able to secure even a fraction of this, you're already a millionaire, right? So in conclusion, what I want to say is, for you to get started, make sure you have a startup, make sure you want to take up entrepreneurship, and that is something you want to be, and decide what kind of business you want to get into, and then research, do a bit of research, right? Plenty of information is available for free right now. And then write your business plan, choose your business structure, assemble your team, and handle your paperwork. And this is something we are going to teach you in this course. In session 1, we will help you come up with the value proposition and all the other things that you just saw in this graphical illustration. So step by step, so that 10 sessions time 2 hours, you will already be having a final business plan with a pitch ready to be presented in front of angel investors or potential venture capitals, inshallah. So with this, I would like to thank you for your attention, and I hope you benefited in this session. And this is a very short time, 1 hour plus. I may not be able to do justice to this topic because this topic is huge. It requires minimum of 20 hours. So I hope you benefited. If you got any questions, I'll be more than happy to address it right now. Thank you so much. Okay, maybe I can request Dr. Ibrahim or Saad to moderate the Q&A because there are so many questions.
Assalamu alaikum. Jazakallah. Thank you very much, Doctor. That was a very, very enlightening session. We'll have a few question answers. Before the question answer session, I'd like to launch a small poll. I'd like everyone to go through the poll in just 2 minutes. Okay, I've started the poll, please. There are 285 people. The poll might be on your screen right now. Please go ahead and start voting. There are 6 questions, please. Okay. I don't know, Dr. Abdul Khaliq, are you able to see the poll?
Yep.
The answers? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Quick. We have another 200 people to go. Please, we move on to question answers. We have another minute. I'd request everyone to fill in the poll quick. We have 30 seconds left. You can just quickly press. You're not going to get any certificate out of the poll.
Okay, I see a question from Naufal Muhammad. Sir, I'll read the question, and maybe as people are trying to, do the poll, I'll try to answer this. He says, I have a nice startup idea, but when I present the prototype, why will they wish to buy from Why won't they just copy paste the idea and use it themselves? Yes, one of the things which venture capitals or angel investors would like to know is how robust your idea is, right? Whether it can be easily copied by your rivals, or somebody can start it overnight in no time, who's equipped with better resources, is something which is something investors would like to know. That's number one. Number two, on an average, every single individual will have plenty of ideas, plenty of ideas. All you have to do is just look around, look what is bothering you. Say, ask people around, for example, visit a shop and say, you doing a business, right? What's what's the biggest problem that's bothering you? When you ask any individual, who is into a business, having a problem, perhaps that's a starting point for you. You can think how to bring solution, right? And that problem should be common to many people. Either you have an idea which can be a solution to many people, or it can be a solution to small number of people, but they are willing to pay a lot of money for it, right? So that's how you go about it. And number two is, the point I would like to make is, with regards to people copying your idea, you need to know that execution matters. People have loads and loads of ideas, but when it comes to execution, not everybody can be good, right? So it's very important for you to plan out your execution strategy and make sure that you are able to efficiently execute. The reason is, you see, whenever you launch any startup, right, you can turn out to be a millionaire in no time. The number of people using your service or buying your product can go from 0 to million and billions in no time. That's the advantage this age and generation have compared to everybody else in the past. People created a lot of value, like I showed you in the first chart of today's presentation. They have been creating value, but for them to become a multi-million-dollar company, they had to build corporations, huge corporations, and that would require so many years. But right now, if you have an amazing idea where people can find amazing benefit for themselves, a lot of value for themselves, then they wouldn't hesitate buying, and the message will spread like wildfire. So if you can execute properly, your numbers can shoot up in no time, and before anybody comes and competes, you would have already seen your millions. I hope that answers the question. Let me move on. Is there a special category for, Saad, you want to say something?
Yeah, Dr. Abdul Khalik, there are many people asking me on WhatsApp and here in the chat box as well. How are these sessions, the future 10 sessions, how are they scheduled, and how will you deliver those sessions?
Okay, before I answer that question, maybe it's good to comment on the poll. The first question of the poll is, how was this webinar? People in huge numbers have said it is excellent and very good, and I truly appreciate your feedback on that. I'm glad that I did this, alhamdulillah. So the next is languages known. It's great to know that so many people are comfortable with English, because I think that's something I'm comfortable with as well. If I start speaking in Tamil or Urdu, people will make fun of me. And of course, Malum Arabiya shwaya shwaya. So I cannot go beyond this. And number 3 is, do you want to learn more on this topic? Overwhelming number of people want to know more, and they said yes. So that's something really positive here. And I'm more than happy to share whatever little experience and knowledge that I have on the subject, inshallah. So number 4, do you want to have your own startup business? Many people have said yes, and those people who said no should be talking to me very soon. I'll change your mindset, inshallah. So number 5, what's stopping you from taking startup? People say not interested in startup, only 3%. Majority of them said no one to mentor. So there you go. We have a platform right now for you to help, for you to mentor. I may not be a great mentor myself, but inshallah, we will try to bring in people who have huge experiences in their respective fields, right? by the way, you don't need to know everything to start your company, right? You need to know what's the absolute what absolutely matters for your project, right? Like I said, the example I gave about the Google, Sundar Pichai, for him to make decision, probably he doesn't even know 10% about his company, right? All the work, so many verticals in his company. So all the CEOs make decisions based on very little data that they have, all right? Or at least based on the major data that they have. So you're many of them saying not a good team. You don't have to worry about not a good team, because you don't need 1,500 people to run a startup. All you need is 1 or 2 people, right? I know some individuals who just do who have gone to the stage of prototype by themselves alone, single-handed. All you need is the confidence in your own self, number one, and put your tawakkul on the creator, right? And believe that you can do something, inshallah. Now, then many people have said no good idea. For you to come up with an idea, you need to know what are the problems around. If you can have a problem, perhaps you can come up with many ideas. And if you take up the course, inshallah, I'll try to guide you on that as well. Question number 6 is, do you want to join Dr. Abdul Khalik startup course? Many people have said yes, and that's amazing as well. I'm happy to know that. So let me now go to the questions people have asked. The question is by Moinuddin Akbar. He says, is there a special category for registering a startup company, or is it just like any other company, and is it mandatory to be an incubate? The answer is no. You can. There are plenty of startup incubators and accelerators. But what people want to see is number one. Right now, as we speak, there are everybody has some idea, and everybody wants to go and seek the seed funding. So it has become quite competitive. For you to go and get the seed funding and get a place in incubators and accelerators, you are required by most of the incubators and accelerators to have some traction. So what is the meaning of traction? You have an idea. Say, for example, you want to sell, what do you want to sell? Come on, guys, type something out. Say you want to sell grapes. Okay, you have amazing grapes from all over the world, and you want to name your startup as Grape, right? So, and if you want to go and get a place for yourself in an incubator or an accelerator, you need to sell grape on an app that you have built and show that with whatever minimum setting that you have put in place, you're able to generate a very small amount of money. It can be as simple as few thousand rupees or a few thousand ringgits or a few $1,000s. Okay, so that's what it requires. And and it is not necessary to incubate. If you are strong enough, you have enough personal mentors, you can access funding through your relatives, friends, and so on. You can do it on your own. And if you, perhaps some of you have your own savings, so you can do your own companies. You don't have to go for incubation. Somebody is asking, what's the fee for 10 sessions? I think Saad our host Saad will explain this. And somebody is thanking for starting this group. We will get the session recording. Saad will answer this. Please advise on how other 10 sessions would be scheduled. Okay, this question is something for which I do not have an exact answer, but I can tell you this, that I think it would be wise for us to have one session a week, because this course is hands-on. It is not like you come, attend a course, get a certificate at the end of the course. No, I don't want to, I haven't structured this course in this manner. Rather, I want you to have real experience of building your startup from scratch. So meaning at the end of 10 sessions, you will have a complete business plan or a complete startup pitch, with which you are ready to go and pitch in front of investors, inshallah. So this is the plan. So every week you will have some homework to do in the form of doing either your business model canvases, or doing your cash flow analysis, or working out some canvases and so on. So it'll be lots of hands-on work, and it will be very, very simple, trust me. And everyone can pull it out successfully, inshallah. So next one is, how does one protect one's idea? This is a challenge, especially in this day and age, because unless your product is unless your startup is based on a product which can be filed as an intellectual property, it's very, very easy for people to copy. So the wisest way is for you to come up with an execution strategy that gets you your desired numbers. Say, for example, your target is to make an exit, right? Once you make, say 500 crores or 100 crores, you want to make an exit. You want to, sell it off to a bigger company. If this is your target, you need to have an execution strategy as to how you can get to those numbers before your competitors come and take you over. Okay. So the next question is, how much is this course? I'm not sure. Saad will answer on this. Muhammad Kabir asked my question. Assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum salam. My question is, what is called copying an idea, like Swiggy doing food delivery and Zomato too? Okay, this is a very good question, because I happened to attend a session by Bill Riker. Bill Riker, if you know, he's from the Silicon Valley, from the US, and somebody who has made several $1 million exits, right? And I happened to personally interact with him a lot when I was at one of the accelerators in Malaysia. So according to him, you can copy any idea as long as you are not trapped or not, falling into a trap yourself. So meaning, if you're copying an idea, make sure you are able to crack that one point where you are distinct, and that distincting factor offers tremendous value to the customers. For example, I gave you the example of Uber. Uber was a giant few years ago. When they came to Malaysia, they came the same way they had launched Uber platform in any other country in the West, meaning it was a single platform. If you had downloaded Uber in one country, you can use the same app in any other country. That was the case. But what the local company in Malaysia did is they customized the app based on the local conditions, local tradition and culture, and said, hey, listen, our people are not that tech savvy and they do not know how to make online payments. So we are going to accept cash payments. This small thought literally made Grab, which is an e-hailing app in ASEAN, in Southeast Asia, to take over Uber. And Uber doesn't exist in this region, if you are aware, right? So this kind of miracles can happen if you can crack that one point where customers can really find value. Then you can take over big giants in those respective fields. Okay, next question is Mayunuddin Akbar. He says, is there a special category for registering startup company, or is it just like, I think I answered this. Next question is, what gives the confidence that our idea is worth to take it to next level to implementation? Yes, there are certain things you need to do in order to find out if your idea is worthy of going to next level. So that's something I'm going to teach in the course. I may not be able to answer it in this short time. Next question is Azim Qureshi. Hello, sir. Thanks for this session. I have a question. Yes, what's your question? I don't see a question. Okay, the next person is Zuha Sheikh. He or she, I think she, says, same happened with Facebook. The idea was of India for only Oxford University. Mark Zuckerberg took it to the global level. Maybe true, may not be true, I'm not sure. Next is Zamreen Taj. I want to run plastic through pyrolysis into fuel and then use this fuel to make non-plastic bags like cacawas. My entrepreneurship is based on environment-based. Can you suggest me specific environment-based investment platform? There are angel investors who are particularly keen on achieving sustainable development goals because they receive government incentives. So for your information, currently I teach one of the courses called biomass energy engineering. So I would be particularly keen to know more about your idea and perhaps guide you in that direction. So you have my email. You can write to me. I'll be more than happy to guide you on this. Next question is Azim Qureshi. I think, yeah, this person has a question. We have already worked on idea and developed it. Now we are working on its prototype. Wonderful. Good job. Keep going. Next is Shadia Musarrat. Before I answer, Saad, do we have more time?
Actually, sorry for interrupting. We'll take the questions offline or later because we have actually lost our time by half
Okay,
an hour.
so I excuse me, others, those whose questions I haven't answered yet. Perhaps after Saad's briefing, I'll be happy to answer more questions. Thank you.
Inshallah, sir. Okay. Thank you very much. As Dr. Abdul Khalik has said that his session is going to be scheduled for the next 10 sessions. One sec. Okay. So whatever idea you have, whatever profession you are in, whatever business you belong to, inshallah, we'll be able to plug it into some or the other kind of an startup platform. So for today, we are running a special offer because many of you were very excited and many of you were very looking forward to join this session. So I'll be sharing the link for the session. Generally, this type of sessions are very rare. Academically qualified people to run a startup session are very less. You might have already participated in many of the entrepreneur or startup programs, but I'm not aware how many of you were very much benefited from that, because I personally have attended more than 50 entrepreneur programs and one or two were only very good. And Dr. Abdul Khalik has crossed those boundaries as well. His was an excellent session, mashallah. Okay, so I'll be sharing a link. This will be an academically useful session for all of you. This is not like a general any startup program. It is an academically empowering session where you will learn the in and out of the entrepreneur session. So for the first 3 sessions, we have divided these 10 sessions into 3 parts: beginner, intermediate, and advanced. So for the beginner, we are running a special offer, and the same offer we continue for the intermediate and advanced as well. So for right now, I'm sharing the link in the chat box. You can just go through the link. Sorry, one sec. Yeah. Okay, so you can just click on the link. It's a 90% of the, you will be shocked by the price that we have fixed. The price is just to have your commitment, not for profit. We are a non-profit institute. And Self-Help for Youth is a platform to empower youth from school students to college students. And we run many programs for kids as well. You can go to our website, www.selfhelpforyouth.com, and you will be able to see the programs run for kids from 8 to 12. We have recently, just last week, we have launched a program called Growth Mindset for Teens. Mashallah, more than 100 people, more than 100 students have already enrolled into the program. You can have a look. You can ping me as well if you wanted to, if you want to have a overview on the growth mindset for teens. And similarly, we have a Dua program, we have Quran program, we have many other programs as well. You can ping me for the details. Right now, for the entrepreneurship program, I've shared the link. The course fee is at an amazing discount. You can just go ahead and make a payment. I'll also share the link in the group as well. Once again, this will be an academically empowering session, not like the other. We walk the talk, basically. We walk the talk. Whatever we teach, we make you implement it practically as well. So it will be very good. And at the end of this 3 sessions, the beginner session, session 1, 2, and 3, you will be able to make your initial pitch deck to the investors. So you will have your idea ready and you will be in a position to pitch investors about your idea. Okay. So that is all from my side. Dr. Abdul Khalik, do you want to take a few question answers, or will you just end the session? Because I think the time is crossed. We had taken 1 hour appointment from you, but it has already gone past.
If you have time and the participants have time, I think I'm okay to extend for a few more minutes.
Okay, we'll take for another 10 minutes.
Just go ahead, yeah.
We will fix the time initially, so it will be good for you and us as well. Okay, we will have questions.
So can I go ahead and take some more questions?
Yeah, sure, Dr. Khalid. We are waiting to hear from you.
Okay, so Nasir Iqbal has a question. I'm working on cloud-based software for processing industry. I'm not sure whether to launch from India or any other country. Main market is India and other South Asian countries. I'm also considering Dubai. What do you suggest? Uh, Definitely, the India is a big market, and many startups are coming into existence. But you need to see based on your situation where you would be able to get involved conveniently, because you need to understand that for you to achieve success in your startup, it's very important to make a commitment. If you don't commit, if you are part-time into this, perhaps you may be struggling. So you need to look into many factors before deciding on where to launch. But the key factor that would determine your success is the market. Where is the market? Where your customers are based? So that's something you need to figure out from your market research. So how to do market research is something we'll discuss in the course in detail. Now, can you suggest where we can approach for funding? Okay, this is an there are, like I said, you see, there are a huge number of funding opportunities. What investors and venture capitals, maybe venture capitals, or uh, angel investors, whoever it may be you're approaching, what they're looking for is a bit of traction. If you have traction, people will flock into you. You don't have to look for investors. They will come running to you. So in Chennai, in Bangalore, all over India, there are so many venture capitals you can approach. If you are interested, you can also look for investors overseas, because as we speak, I'm based in Malaysia, so can give you a Malaysian example. Over here right now, at least I know about 5 openings for funding, each one of them exceeding at least 10 million ringgits. So funding, there's no scarcity for funding. All people are looking for is a good idea with some traction. Okay. Again, Moinuddin Akbar, I think it's we answered this already. So let me move to the next question, which is from Bashir ul Ibrahim, I guess. He says, how to select the best idea for startup if one has too many brainstorm ideas? You see, you need to work out your value proposition and be sure that you are nailing down absolutely on what are the key jobs for the customers you're solving, what are the pains you are relieving for the customers, and what are the gains your customers will get through your product or the service. So for me personally, because this is what I heard from people who are serial entrepreneurs whose job is day and night to look for good startups and invest. They have reminded again and again that for you to succeed, that one key thing you should look into any idea or any startup is the value proposition. So you have to evaluate your idea if it has great value proposition for the customers. Next is startup always should have a new idea? It doesn't have to be. Doesn't have to be. I gave you can just go on and look around you. For example, on the food delivery apps, you will find there are so many applications as we speak, perhaps in your city, in your country. So like, for example, there are so many platforms, aggregator platforms, whereby you can buy your groceries, you can buy a lot of other different goods and so on and so forth. There's so many fintech applications, financial applications. For example, if you come to some of the Middle Eastern countries, there are so many Sharia compliant tech fintechs, right? Fintechs. So yes, and there you go. I have a comment from my dear friend from the US, Mani Gandan. This is Money from US. How to compete with similar idea business? I think, Money, I answered this question already. The only way you can compete an existing business is by offering a value to the customers, which is way better than the existing business, right? Existing business entity. So I hope I answered this question. Money, we should also catch up over phone. Next is Altaf Ansari. Is experience required in idea filed? I would say if you have experience, that is great. That is going to be a great addition. You are really going to find yourself in a great position to take your startup forward. If you don't have experience, the best thing you can do is start learning about that particular market and the field, or you need to look for mentors, people who can guide you. And one of the things we are looking forward to do under Self-Help for Youth is to establish an accelerator, whereby we will bring in mentors from different fields and industries who can guide particular startups from a particular background. Okay, next is Manigandan again. He says, like Amazon and Walmart is similar e-commerce company. If I want to start similar e-commerce company, what should I consider to be in the competition? Right now, the e-commerce industry is super saturated. So much so that, for example, you're talking about Amazon, and I know for sure there are some platforms which do not take commission anymore, meaning their revenue models have changed, right? In the past, some platforms would ask you to feature your products on their platforms, and as a result, whenever any sale is made, they would take a cut, they would take a commission. Right now, there are so many platforms that have come up with innovative revenue models that lessen the burden on the vendors, and they have different revenue streams. For example, Amazon's revenue is much more than it's much more through its Amazon Web Service than the cuts they take from the commissions perhaps. So the revenue models are changing, and if you are interested in launching an e-commerce platform, you have no choice but to come up with a radically new or innovative business model, and only then you can perhaps succeed. And that can only succeed when customers find value in that. So again and again, I'm emphasizing on the point that value is something you should be looking into. Okay, the next question is from Irfan Ahmad. He says, will you advise on patenting or course will cover? Yes, there is a session, last but one session, I think the 9th or 8th session, whereby we will be talking about how to set up an entity and how to protect your idea through copyright or through patent, or keep it as a trade secret and so on. We will have a session on this. Perhaps if we find a lawyer, maybe Dr. Ibrahim will also comment on this. One of the things we will do in all these 10 sessions is we will bring in some experts as guest speakers. So I'll speak for some time, and I'll also try to bring in some guest speakers who are experts in their own fields, and perhaps that will be a great value to this course, inshallah. So next is, could age 12 also have a startup? Yes, my dear Adil Suhail, I think you are a student who is 12 years old. You can go and find out, either you can Google or YouTube teenage entrepreneurs, and you would find that there are young students as young as 12 years old who have made millions. So there are plenty of examples for you to follow through. Okay, next is Inshia Sheikh. How much it costs for studying this course? I think that has been answered already by Saad. Next question is by Muhammad Shafi. He says, many are afraid of future secured life. What advice you give them? I'll give a very lengthy advice on the first day of this course. So take up the course. I have a long advice for you. Next is Muhammad Sadiq. He says, there is need for patent rights for prototype, I think he is talking about a machine. It would be nice if you can patent, because whenever you have any physical product, it is better to go for patenting, because that will protect your product from being copied by your competitors. Saad, do we have more time, or I should stop, or I can continue?
It's up to you, doctor. It's up to you. We do not
okay,
have
I'll take another 10 questions, and then I think I'm done. Okay, so somebody is asking, what profit will funders get by funding startups? Okay, if you are, by the way, this question is from Naufal. Naufal, for to your question, you can treat Accelerator as a startup by itself. For example, say, you know, Dr. Ibrahim and myself launch an accelerator tomorrow, and we get some funding or some investment to fund all these startups. So what happens is, for the service that is provided by the incubator or the accelerator, you know, it requires a lot of services, right? From guiding you, giving you space to work for next 3 months to 6 months, to giving you legal support, helping you register, and, you know, guiding you on your business models, and, you know, offering you a lot of such support. Normally, accelerators take 15, 10, 8, 5% equity in the company. So this is a very common business model that can be found everywhere around the world. So if you are going to fund a startup, you can ask for equity in the company. So, and if the company grows bigger, perhaps you can also get your dividends every year. Okay. Next is Wasi Kearney. He says, hi, thanks for the amazing session. I have a query. I have an amazing idea. How do I choose the right people to collaborate? Choosing a right team requires a very simple approach, and that is, don't choose your team just because you happen to share tea or coffee with your friends or the buddies who play cricket with you. Choose people because you know them well, you trust them, as well as they will complement your skills. They will complement the knowledge that you have. For example, you can be a good programmer, and the co-founder that you are choosing should be somebody from the business background, right? Somebody who is from the marketing background. So if you can complement each other's skill, that I think would be an amazing thing. Okay, so somebody is doing a matrimony advertising here. They shouldn't be doing. Okay, next is, so can I say, you will play as a mentor for my startup? Yes, inshallah, I will do my best. You can approach me. I'll see how I can help you. Next is Fayaz. What is the minimum age to join? There is no minimum age, Fayaz. You can take it up. If you are confident, you can go ahead. Okay, next is, what gives the confidence that our idea is worth to take it to next level? I think I answered it. Value proposition, focus on value. Next is, please share this PowerPoint in WhatsApp app in the form of PDF. Yes, I will do share this presentation, but you should also remember that there were some animations. They wouldn't be you know, visible to you when I convert it into PDF, but nevertheless, I'm going to share.
We will keep it in the website, our portal.
Okay, yeah. So I'll take 3 more questions, and then I think we can wrap up. Dr. Ibrahim?
Yeah, we will keep the document in our portal so they can come download
Sure.
that.
Okay, 3 more questions, then I'll be done. Imran Khan says, how many months will it take to complete the course? We are planning to have 10 sessions in 10 weeks. So in 10 weeks, at the end of 10 weeks, you will have your business idea ready for pitching. If you are really committed, you know, you cannot fool around. If you need to be really passionate and committed into what you committing to, right? Then the next question is Abu Zubair, I guess. 3 months. Oh, I think he's answering. Yeah, this is by Dr. Ibrahim. I think the next question is Muhammad Arif. He says, Assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum salam. Right now, I'm doing my post-graduation degree in human resource management right now. Can I do your course simultaneously? I mean, will there be my many assignments and homework? Actually, these assignments are going to be super easy, and it will be totally guided, and there will be templates given. So if you have the right information, all you need to do is keep filling up. And of course, you need to do a lot of market research and so on. And I think you will enjoy if you're really committed. You won't find burden. I hope so, at least. Last question, and then I think we can wrap up. Is there a legal entity called a startup company? Startup, when you register, it becomes a legal entity, right? So it's a company. You're either turning it into enterprise, or you can register. If you're interested in seeking funding from others, you need to register that as a private limited company, right? In Malaysia, for example, they call it Sindarian Berhad. So with this, I would like to end this Q&A session. If others who have more questions, I would like to apologize, because I think it's time we need to wrap up. So once again, I would like to thank Dr. Ibrahim Saad for inviting me to this platform, for connecting all of us so that we can learn from each other. And I would also like to thank all the participants for your time. Thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum assalam. Thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Saad, and all the participants.
Jazakallah khair. We will stay connected in the group, inshallah. Any more doubts, any more questions, you can ping me directly. I'm Saad. Jazakallah.